Today we're going to look at relative start points. Now the short version of this video would be click here, done. But I'd like to go over what a relative start point is, how it can be useful, and I'm also going to create a little activity where we're going to use relative start points and keyboard presses to control an on-screen character through a maze. So when we apply a motion path to an object, by default its starting point is fixed to where we've placed it on the stage, and it's always going to return to its original position when one path completes and another begins. But the relative start point option allows for a motion path starting point to be relative to where the object is on the stage rather than a fixed position. So in other words, the motion path will start where the previous one ended, and this allows objects to be moved around the screen. So to add a motion path, of course, click on the object you want to move about, go up to Animation, and then Add Motion Path. So now it's time to set the parameters of our motion path. For this example, I want the character to move around the screen quite quickly, so I'm going to set the duration to ½ second. It's also a good idea to name your motion paths, because as you keep adding more and more, it can get quite hectic, and you want to know which one goes where, and it's good to know which one is doing what. So rename your motion paths is always a good idea. We're also going to set the length of these motion paths to 100 pixels, and I'll get to why that's important a bit later on. And of course the most important thing we need to do is add the relative start point option. So go to Path Options, and then right down at the bottom of the list you can see Relative Start Points, so click on that. So as part of the game we're going to want to move the character around the screen with our keyboard buttons. So we're just going to update this trigger here, and we're going to say move Kim along the right motion path when user presses the right key after clicking on this slide. So for some reason, Storyline sees any of the directional arrows as num buttons, so the right key for some reason is num6, but okay Storyline, you're the boss. Now we just want to take what we've just done with this motion path and apply it to the other three directions. So we've got right, so we need left, up and down. Okay, so I'm just going to speed through this next bit. So if we give that a publish, we can now control our character around the screen. Now we want to create the maze for our character to run around. I mentioned earlier that we need to set the length of the motion paths to 100 pixels. That's because we want the distance travelled in each direction to be nice and consistent, but it also helps us set obstacles and create our maze. So here I've set a grid of 100 by 100 squares, and I've created obstacles that will fit within that grid. I also want to set an objective for our character to complete. So here's a little checkout, and then the objective of the game is going to be get from one side of a maze to the checkout. So the only problem we have now is that our character can walk through walls, like a ghost. Obviously cheating. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to stop that happening, with a bit of a homebrew method for collision detection. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.